Hello again and welcome to another bearing installation video featuring Boca bearings. Today I'm going to be installing a set of bearings in my Moki 2.10 two-stroke engine. So let's go straight to the table. Okay, so here on the table I've got all the tools and supplies necessary to do this very simple bearing installation. Let's start with a small ball peen hammer or a light hammer to tap the bearing into place, along with a piece of wood to help buffer the blows. I've got a bottle of Boca bearing lightning lube road power lubricating oil here that I'll use to lubricate the inside areas of the front housing and the outside areas of the bearings themselves and all the other metal parts. To facilitate the installation, I've got this mammoth crankshaft from this Moki 2.10 here, which we'll be putting the main bearing on. I've got the front drive hub here and the front housing. So the front housing is where we're going to put the main bearing in here and then the front bearing in here. And I've got this thrust washer here because this bearing actually needs to be recessed slightly, and this portion of the thrust washer actually provides that amount of recess, so I'll use that to tap that in place to finally set that bearing. And I've got a small glass jar here just to put a little bit of the road lube in, or road power. I've got a desk vise just to hold the front housing while I install the bearings, heat gun, protective glove, and of course the bearings themselves. So the bearings I'm going to be using today is, and this kit number will be on the screen and it will also be in the description of the video, is ENK 083. Let's see here, I'll try to read through several bags here. It's ENK 065 HP kit. And here are the bearings. So the next thing I'm going to do here is just take the bearings out of the bags. We got our nice big main bearing here, and our larger than normal front bearing. This is a larger engine, so this is kind of fun. I'm going to put just a little squirt of this lightning lube in here, and I will be using my finger to just lubricate these parts up here. Now, I'll be heating these things up pretty hot to allow the aluminum to expand to help seat these bearings a little bit easier. So the outside of these bearings is the only thing I'm going to lubricate here. Now this set of bearings came with no shields, and at some point here in the very near future, I'm probably going to do a video on describing what all of the different prefixes and suffixes are that make up the bearing part numbers. So let's put that aside. I'm going to be installing the front bearing first, and this one side is a rubber shielded bearing. The other side has a phenolic resin cage. So I'm going to be installing with the front shield out like this. So I'm going to set this up here, get my glove on, and start heating this up. I'm using a high heat setting because this is really thick aluminum, and I do want it to expand a little bit because the tolerances on this engine are rather tight. Okay, I think that's good. You start to see a little smoke coming, and you're probably in pretty good shape there. That's down. Now I'm going to place this on here and do the final seating. And now that bearing is fully seated and recessed properly. Boy, does that feel smooth. Okay, so next what I'm going to do here is determine which way. I believe what I'm going to do with this one, this cage here, I'm going to leave the opened end towards the rear of the bearing, towards the rear of the crank pin or the counterweight. Let me see if I can do that again here. This should, looks like there is a little bit of a step there, so it's, like I said, the tolerances on this engine are really tight. There we go. That's how that should feel. Oh, look at that. That's just beautiful. Okay, so that's not super hot, but I think I need to get it a little bit warmer to get this main bearing to seat. And that is just a thing of beauty. And that's really all there is to installing this new set of bearings in this Moki 2.10 engine.